Everybody, what's up? Ehren here, Question Period Canada. We're here with the highlights from today's question period, which was out of hand. An MP gets kicked out of the Commons because they were so out of hand, so upset, used language they're not allowed to use. It's pretty crazy. Things are getting hot on the Hill, guys. It would seem these days like the Liberals don't mind telling lies to Canadians in the Commons. It's a strange thing that's happening, but we're kind of onto it. I don't think they're telling the truth about some senators. Anyhow, we're going to jump in right away. Pierre's going to get us kicked off with some questions for Trudeau.
The Honourable Leader of the Official Opposition.
What is shameful is that this Prime Minister is causing homelessness in this country. He's caused a doubling of the number of people eating at a food bank in Toronto. One single mother in Sydney said, well, this month I had to choose between eating and having heat. My kids are getting fed, but my house is freezing, end quote. The Prime Minister's solution is to quadruple the carbon tax on that single mother and on seniors. Mr. Speaker, we have a common sense Conservative bill to take the carbon tax off farmers and food. Why did the Prime Minister manipulate and intimidate Liberal senators into blocking that bill? Why does he want to tax food right before Christmas?
The Right Honourable Prime Minister.
Mr. Speaker, after all the intimidation and threats from the Conservatives towards parliamentarians on 234, it turns out the only farming the Conservative Party cares about is rage farming. Because all of this was just an attempt to fundraise off of the backs of farmers. Time and time again, the Conservative leader has shown that he wants to take Canadians back to the Stone Age instead of helping them get ahead. On this side of the House, the Liberal government will always be there to support farmers.
The Honourable Leader of the Official Opposition.
Mr. Speaker, as this Prime Minister raises taxes on food, brings back malnutrition, brings in record-smashing food bank use, the best he can come up with is a bunch of scripted talking points from junior staffers in the PMO. That is outrageous. Canadians are going hungry as Christmas is just around the corner, and a common-sense Conservative bill to take the tax off farmers and food could have helped solve the problem. Why did he manipulate and intimidate senators to keep the tax on the food and make our people go hungry right before Christmas?
The Right Honourable Prime Minister.
Speaker, we have an opposition leader who is so ideologically opposed to protecting the planet that he's willing to take Parliament hostage and stop Parliament from supporting workers, stop Parliament from supporting families, and stop Parliament from supporting Ukraine as well. The Leader of the Opposition has threatened to ruin the holidays if his ideological demands are not met. Let us be clear, we will keep working for Canadians while the Conservative leader is only fueled by the sound of his own voice and has no real plan for this country. We will never back down from supporting Canadians.
You can tell that Poilievre is really pissed off today because Bill C-234 was blocked in the Senate. It wasn't supposed to go that way. It got through the Commons. It should get through the Senate. I'm sour about it too. I thought that was going to work out for Canadians. Up next, Melissa Lantsman has more questions about that Senate problem.
Member for Thornhill.
Speaker, every single senator who voted against this bill was a Liberal senator. The Prime Minister's carbon tax has already ruined Christmas for millions of Canadian families. So Conservatives are going to ruin Christmas vacation for this Prime Minister and his Liberal MPs. We will stay here as long as it takes to force them to axe the tax so the Canadians can afford gas, groceries, and home heating. So, Mr. Speaker, how long are we going to be here? Is it 1 week? Is it 2 weeks? Is it 3 weeks until this Prime Minister finally relents and cancels his carbon tax on farmers, on families, and on First Nations?
The Honourable Government House Leader.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Unlike the Conservatives who had their senators bully independent senators in the other place, we will stand up to the bullies on the other side. Mr. Speaker, we will continue to stand for Canadians every single day. And we know that when we put a price on pollution with the rebate, Canadians get more back than they pay. If the Conservatives cared about Canadians and their affordability challenges, they would support the price on pollution because it is putting money in their pockets. But typical Conservative style, they take from the poor to give to the rich. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
As much as a firecracker as Melissa Lantsman is, she couldn't get any answers out of Gould there. Nothing straight. Up next, Marilyn Glado. She's an MP from Ontario. More questions about the Senate.
The honourable member for Sarnia-Lambton.
Well, Mr. Speaker, this weekend it was the Prime Minister that was bullying the senators, calling them up and telling them to kill Bill C-234, a common sense bill to help farmers and families. And the Senate, you know, they listened to him. They gutted the bill, okay? But people are suffering. People are hungry. The food bank use in my riding is up over 100%. So will the Prime Minister finally listen to Canadians and take the carbon tax off farmers, First Nations, and families?
The Honourable Government House Leader.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Look, Mr. Speaker, the party opposite continues to spread information that is simply incorrect. When they're talking about the vote in the other place, they should really be asking the Conservative senators who sit in that caucus why they didn't show up to vote yesterday. Mr. Speaker, if they truly cared about it, that would have been the question that they were asking instead of posing this to the government that has nothing to do with the independent Senate. But what we do on this side of the House is we support farmers. We're going to be there for farmers. We're going to be there for all Canadians like we have been since 2015. We're going to keep delivering for them. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice, shame on me. I'm never believing Karina Gould a word comes out of her mouth ever again. Just won't do it. Up next, though, Damien Kirk's frustrated too. He can't take any more of having people lie to his face. He loses control. It's so worth checking out. This is the highlight.
Honourable member for Battle River Crowfoot.
Mr. Speaker, yesterday, Liberal-appointed senators voted to gut common sense Conservative Bill C-234, an action that betrays farmers. For the last decade, this PM has repeatedly made the claim that the Senate and those he appoints to it are independent, yet this weekend proved otherwise. He and his Socialist Environment Minister were busy employing a campaign of bullying and pressure to force his senators to kill this needed carbon tax carve-out. The carbon tax is punishing the farmers who produce the food and the folks that need it. Will this Prime Minister finally just listen to Canadians and axe his carbon tax?
Hey, hey. The Honourable Minister of Agriculture.
Mr. Speaker, I think my honourable colleague is well aware the other place makes the decisions on their own. We do not. The Conservative Party of Canada has senators in their caucus. The Conservative Party of Canada does not have a policy or a plan for the environment. But I can assure my honourable colleague that we do have a plan for the environment, and that's why we're able to make an investment of $1.5 billion to help farmers, processors reduce their environmental footprint. Mr. Speaker, we have and will continue to support our farmers and ranchers in this country.
I just want to say, I mean, as I said, the Honourable Minister sits right here. I can barely hear him. So let's try to keep the sound down a little bit. The Honourable Member for Battle River Crowfoot.
Mr. Speaker, I know for a fact that farmers are asking that minister to axe the carbon tax. That PM promised that the Senate would be independent, but the actions this past week proved that that is a complete farce. We know he bullied his senators. The PM himself was on the phone over the weekend telling them they had to gut Bill C-234. The Prime Minister lied, and his minions continue to lie about
I've never seen that before. Actually called him a liar right to his face by title. That Prime Minister's a liar. What's going to happen next?
The honourable member who got here at the same time I did knows full well that you can't use that word. I would say the honourable member should retract that and apologize. The honourable member of Battle River Crowfoot.
Mr. Speaker, I will not apologize to that Prime Minister when he continues to lie about the independence of the Senate.
I'm asking the honourable member to apologize for the second time and retract that word. The honourable member knows full well you cannot use that word in this chamber. So this is the last opportunity. The honourable member of Battle River Crowfoot, will you be retracting that?
It's the truth. It's the truth. I will not apologize to the Prime Minister, Mr. Speaker.
Mr. KUREK, would you mind leaving us today? So let me fill this. I have to name you for the disregarding the authority of the chair. Pursuant to the authority granted by me, Standing Order 11, I order you to withdraw from the House from any participation by video conference for the remainder of this sitting day. But he did leave. I'm just gonna take a bit of a break here.
My respect for Damien KUREK has gone up. I had my eye on the guy anyhow because he's well spoken and puts his questions together really well, but right there earned some respect. Taking one for the team, sticking to his guns, wouldn't apologize because he's so frustrated. Guess he had to take the afternoon off though. Alright guys, we're gonna get running on that highlight. I'm Ehren, this is Question Period Canada. Hope you enjoyed the show. Like and subscribe, tell somebody about what we're doing here. That's it, we're leaving for the evening. Everybody try to stay warm. Catch you tomorrow. We'll have more highlights and live review of the question period. Ciao for now.